Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hi guys, how are you doing? I hope that everything goes in the right track with you. As you know that we are done with the syllabus of the course for the second term, and the last session was just one for getting closer to the pronunciation tips for the TH sounds. And let's just go through different areas of the language in order just to enrich our vocabulary more in different topics, because as you know that we should be careful of getting new vocabulary, of getting new ideas about the pronunciation, new pieces of information in everything in the language skills. So inshallah, in next sessions I'll just try hard to get for you different skills, different ideas, different just exercises to try hard to practice together the language skills. Okay, so let's start for today's vocabulary in the today's topic. Here we start. Let me just ask you, do you like the older places? Do you like all the places, like visiting all the places? You just would like to go to these places to visit them and to have like a kind of discovery of those different places. And as you know that this place, it's really famous. It's Al Mu'izz Mosque, and this is yes, I think it's yes, Toulon Mosque. Yes, I think so. And also we have actually in Egypt like a very famous places, and they are very old and ancient places. I think that they are really like nice ones, and I know that many people like they didn't even, or they have never visited the pyramids, and they are Egyptian. Yes, and I know a lot of people like this. So, guys, really nice, or it's really nice to go and to visit the ancient places and to discover more about your country and your cities in the country. Inshallah, after the coronavirus have like well begun, you should do this because really it's nice thing to discover about your history, about your culture, and about different things in your country. Uh, I would like just to ask you, do you like the historic movies, like the movies that were shot in these ancient places? Do you like those kind of movies? Do you feel that you're interested in? Let me just give you one example. You know Harry Potter for sure. Harry Potter that was shot in a very famous college or a university. Do you know it? Yes, you can just go and search right now. We just pause the video, go and search, and we are going to go with this in the next slide. But I need you just to think, what is it? Maybe that you are going to get the piece of information. And for the people they didn't or they don't watch Harry Potter series, you can just go and search about it, okay, and to get this piece of information. So let's move to the next slide. Yes, here we go. As you see here that you have, this is a castle. Okay, so it's HIGHCLERE Castle. So HIGHCLERE Castle, it's in England. Okay, and as you know that it's very ancient place. Yes, and like very famous. If you are going just to go and search about it, you're going to find it like a very famous place in England. And like for example in Egypt that we have here, Muhammad Ali Castle, okay, or citadel. Yes, so you can just try to go and visit also, because guys this is gives you a background information about the country that you live in. Like for example this castle, I need just to go and to look up these things, you will just get it very interesting. Okay, let's move forward. Yes, here we go to the second. Yes, second historic place or ancient place. Actually, this is a very famous place. It's called Courtlanded Alley. It's in New York, okay, in America, and it's really famous one because if you are going to find out the movie that were shot in this Courtlanded Alley, you're going to find many things. Let me just like get your attention for something really important. You see that this is street, yes. As you know, it's a very narrow, and it's not like a broad one. So alley, this is like a very narrow street or a very small street. So we call it alley. Okay, like in a very like it's very short and it's very narrow in the space. So we call it alley. Okay, let's move forward. Go to this. It's called a Christchurch College. Christchurch College. This is really a very, very, very famous college in Oxford University. Yes, and as you know that it was like Harry Potter series were shot in this place. So guys, it's really nice to discover the places, because inshallah when you have the chance to travel abroad or to travel to England, because Oxford University it's existed in England, so you have the chance to go to these nice places, ancient places, and to discover the tremendous like tremendous history, tremendous culture, and these things, to try to know them. So please, when you are going to travel abroad, try to visit these places, and you are going, inshallah, to have fun. So here, as you know, Christchurch College, it's a university where in Oxford. Yes. So why I'm just stating these places, these ancient places, because in the next slide we will start the vocabulary part, which is related to just like shooting movies in these ancient places, and some vocabulary. There are no vocabulary for you, and I hope that you are going just to be interested in them. So let's move on. Okay, so guys, here we go. I just would like to read this story with me, and I'm asking you to give it a title after you read it. So let's read it together. I'm interested in all kinds of movies, but mainly I love locations in shooting, like all design places, and I got inspired by historical art. Some of the old places, like Alice and the Metropolis, are inhabited by some gangsters. Moreover, some photographers like to photograph abbeys to keep them in memory. Most of these places are owned by the government and deans after they are passed from the foreigners. Most of the inhabitants are aristocratic families. When scenes are based on the real life events, it touches us more. Nowadays, some of the plots are meaningless and aimless. Okay, so as you know, here we are going just to go to discover all these words in bold, as you see, and we are going to go hard to give it a title. So if just I will just give it a title of mine. I'll just say, for example, shooting in the ancient places, shooting in ancient places. So this is my title, so I need you to think also and to get it for it a title. And now let's just go together in order to form, or just to put the meanings of these words together. So here I'm interested in all kinds of movies, but here is I love locations in shooting, like old design places. What does it mean, old designed? Old designed equal the word ancient or old, which means in the design itself they are very old. And I got inspired. What does it mean I got inspired? When you got inspired, that means, you got supported, you get hand of help, and you got, like, for example, power to do something. So I got inspired by, like, for example, I really liked, or I really felt that I have a power when I look to this historical art. Okay. Some of the old places, like Alice. What the meaning of Alice? We just mentioned it, like maybe 1 or 3 minutes ago. We mentioned it. The Alice, they are very narrow streets. You remember it, that it was in New York. And metropolis. What does it mean, metropolis? Cairo, London, all these capitals, they are very large cities, and they are very famous and well known. We call them metropolis. Metropolis, they are the very famous and very large and tremendous places or cities, and they are very well known, and especially capitals, like for example Cairo, like Alexandria. I think it's not a capital, but it's really well known, and it's a really large, even in people and space as well. So we can call it metropolis, and this is Alice. Or inhabited. What does it mean, inhabit? When you inhabit, or it's inhabited, what does it mean? Which means the people are stay. The people, they stay here. So inhabited, that means that it has people. Okay. by some gangsters. Gangsters, it's a word to describe the people. They are gangs, you know, the like mafia and these things, or those people and dealers, like those people, we call them gangsters. Gangsters is taken from gang, the word gang, and as you know, they are just a group of people. They are just doing illegal actions in certain places, so we call them gangsters. Moreover, some photographers, guys, it's not photographers, no, photographers, we pronounce it like this, photographers, like to photograph because it's a verb, photograph. Abbes, they are the very very old church, like very old churches. So like for example, the church, the Christ Church college that it was in Oxford University, we call them abbes that describes the very very old churches, to keep them in the memory. Okay, so they would like just to take photos or to photograph the abbes to keep them in the memory. And most of these places are owned by the government and deans. What's the meaning of the word deans? So deans, those people, they are just leading the universities and the college. For example, you have a leader or you have a manager of your college or your university. dean, let me just say in Arabic, العميد, عميد الكلية. عميد الكلية is called a dean. He's not a leader and he's not a manager. We call him a dean. So it's like a sequence of or a ladder, or just, you know, ranks. We started by, for example, a prof, and then I think you have, for example, the professor first, and then you have doctor, and then I think the dean. Okay, so let's just move forward to the word after they are passed from the foreigners. So what does it mean, passed from? Passed from, like inherited, or it's taken from the old people. Like for example, when someone his father dead, so the money of his father passed from, the money passed from his father to him. Okay, most of the inhabitants, this is the people, they are inhabit certain place, like people they stay in certain place, are aristocratic families. What does it mean, aristocratic? Aristocratic, like a very, what do we call it? Exactly, a very high class, like high class people, aristocratic, or they have a very high social status or social condition in the society. So we call them like high class, you know, high class family, aristocratic. They have the money and the power and the authority. You know, when scenes are based on real life events, what does it mean, scenes? You know, any movie that it has many many shots, and these shots actually they are different scenes. Like for example, when you have a scene in a movie that they just shot it in the kitchen, and after they shot it in the kitchen while the mother was cooking, they stop this scene and they start another scene in the garden, and so on. So we call them that the movie is consisting of just different scenes. And these scenes are based on the real life events. What the meaning of real life event? Real life event, which means facts, or real event, real action, real stories. They are taken from life itself. So they already facts. They are not just no fiction or something. No, no, no. They are really facts. Okay, and it touches us more because actually when things they are based on real life, they touches us more. Nowadays, some of the plots, what the meaning of plot? Do you remember this word when we study it in the writing process? The plots are meaningless and aimless. Yes, plots here, that means when you have actually the general idea of the whole topic. So for example, when you go to just to try to sum up the whole things, the whole story, starting just the middle and the end, but in very like that in a way that it has a suspense and it touches us all the people, or it's catchy and touchy for all people to come and to read it. So the plot, which means that, you know, the summing up for the whole story, the sequence of the events of this movie, of this novel, of this just a paragraph or a story, whatever. So I have a plot for the movie, I have a plot for a series, I have a plot for a novel, for a book, whatever. All meaningless and aimless. So here meaningless, which means it doesn't have a meaning. So when we add less to any word, that means no. So it doesn't have a meaning and it doesn't have an aim. So and like an aim means what, or aimless, that means it doesn't have a goal. So it cannot just deliver any message. There is no message out of this plot or this work of art or this just a movie or this production in general. Okay, so I hope that you got the whole idea out of this, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And please try to focus again and again on these words. Let's just go like very smoothly and quickly to read them. All designed, inspired, alleys, metropolis, inhabited, gangsters, photograph abbeys, deans, passed from aristocratic scenes based on real life event plots, meaningless and aimless. Let's move forward. Okay, so guys, we've done with today's session, and I'll just giving you this task, and I need please to do it as soon as possible. You will use the previous slides words that they were in bold, and to do what, and to use them in a story of your own making. I need you just to please to try to use them in a story in your own making, to practice two things: to practice memorizing these vocabulary when you put them in a story, that you are going to be able to produce them more next times when it comes to need them. And the second idea is you are going to practice writing and the writing process. So please do them as soon as possible, and stay safe, stay home. And if you have any question, please don't hesitate and ask me on the WhatsApp group. Thank you so much, guys, for just following and just listening to this session, and see you inshallah next week. Thank you.